Think about if you get your flowers every day. Just say you walking down the street. I mean, you just get your flowers all the time.
Right.
For one, you may not appreciate the flowers as much, or for two, it'll make you less hungry. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't think it's meant for people to get their flowers all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe in giving people their flowers. Don't get me wrong. And I appreciate when I get my flowers every now and then. But I'm not a person that wake up and be like, man, you know, you ain't never heard me ever in no time in my life or career be one that's mad about people not getting them flowers, saying this.
Hey guys, what's good? And welcome to the COSIGN Life. If you're watching this video, that means you co-sign us and we co-sign you. So here are a couple of ways to support us at COSIGN Magazine. Number one, view the description below, click the link, and purchase an issue of COSIGN Magazine. Just like this one right here, physical. You can purchase this. Number two, you can also support us by purchasing COSIGN merch. Hit the link below and it'll take you to all our past merch items, and we'd love to have your support and see you wear COSIGN Magazine.
What up, world? Welcome back to another episode of COSIGN Conversations, man. We got a Dallas legend in the building. You know what I'm saying? I know we say we usually have special guests. I'm going to say a legend. We're not doing special guests because we did that way too many times before. We got my G, Dorrough Music, AK 6'3". How you doing, bro?
I'm good.
Man.
Good, man. You know, just working right now. You feel me?
I know you've been busy on the road, getting back to the music. We're really staying on the music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I kind of want to do the backstory, talk about today, because we got a lot to cover, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So kind of want to start there, bro. So I'm originally from Cali. That's where I went to high school. And then I moved out here to go to school at UTA. So I was going to UTA. I was also working at Ozone Magazine. Yeah. So that's what really got me tapped into, you know, a lot of the Dallas music when I moved out here. And I was on tour, a little backstory. I was doing photography, videography back in the day, and I was on tour with Trey the Truth with DJ Hella Yella.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Trey and Hella Yella, man. I just 3 days ago, we just had a basketball game in Austin. 2 days ago.
That's crazy. You still hoop?
Yeah, I just put up 20 points in the they had a celeb game, my team versus Trey team, Trey the Truth team. Trey had Kirk O'Baines, Gorilla Zoe, and some other hoopers, you know what I'm saying? I had, who I had on my squad? I had me, Hella Yella, you know what I'm saying? Some hoopers. Yeah, but anyway, we won. You feel me? And I put up 20.
That's what somebody.
You know, I still hoop whenever I can hoop. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say like I'm out there every day, but it's a good way for me to, you know, stay in shape or try and get in shape. You feel me? Like so, and it's still fun. You know.
Definitely, man. We're gonna have to talk offline, bro. We doing like an artist, influencer, business game with Foot Locker in October. So I'm trying to recruit because you know they trying to put some teams together. So.
Yeah.
You know, so
I'm always down for hooping, man. Anytime I can really, you know, go out there and hoop, I'm gonna do it for sure. So.
Nah, that's what's up, man. So this was like 09. Probably like 09, 08 when I was on tour with them doing like the video photography, bro. And you know the music was going crazy, bro. I think the first record I heard from you was Walk That Walk, for sure, man. And it really just took off. But even before then, man, kind of tell us how you even got started music. I know you were doing music in high school, but was it in high school started to pick up, or was it when you got the PV that really started to pick up?
It was kind of both. I mean, high school. So when I was in high school, that's when I was hooping for real, like, and like I was that guy when it came to that. That's what I was pretty much known for. But I also, you know, I started rapping in high school, dropping mixtapes, and my fan base, like I had like kind of like a court fan base just from hooping, like people that really, you know what I'm saying, in the surround, they really followed me as a hooper. So when I started rapping, you know, they supported the same way. You feel me? It was more like they were just into me as a personality more, as anything. So anything I did, they supported. So anyway, long story short, I started rapping in high school, dropping mixtapes, and immediately like I was, you know, catching buzzes and. You know, I mean, I tell the story all the time about how, you know, being the captain of the team and running out to my music at basketball games really propelled my whole rap career because our games was packed. Like our games was big game. I went to Lancaster.
Okay.
So, you know, we had all the big game, Lancaster versus Carter, Lancaster Sox. Like we had Campbell's, you know, we had we played out and all those basketball was a big thing, or still is, obviously. So that was just, I always seen things like that. Like wherever there's a lot of people at, that's an audience. You feel me? That's a demographic. And if I can get my music played there and people rocking with it, it's gonna work in my favor. And that's kind of how I got started. So that was a big part of everything. You know what I'm saying? Just getting that foundation. That's when, you know, I even started branching and got to a point where do I want to hoop? Do I want to rap type thing? You feel me? After that, and I ended up going to Prairie View.
Okay.
So when I got to Prairie View, I came in and I immediately like hit the ground running. Like my mindset was the same thing. It's PV, you know what I'm saying? I had went to freshman orientation. I wasn't gonna even go PV because I was gonna go to St. Mary's and take the basketball scholarship in San Antonio. But my mom was just like, you need to go just to weigh your options. Just go see. You can go down there. And I went to PV orientation and I saw what it was, like 7-to-1 females to dudes, just the whole atmosphere. And St. Mary's is college-wise, culture-wise, it's the complete opposite. It's like it's a good school for basketball, but campus life, like it would have been all basketball there. So I just seeing contrary, and I was going down there to go to St. Mary's and going down there playing and meeting the coaches and getting into that. So I was weighing both, but I was just like, there's no way, you know what I'm saying, I can choose this over PV, you know what I'm saying? Once I got down there, and from that day, you know, I just saw PV for like, okay, this is campus with a lot of people on there, people from everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And it's a party school. So I immediately saw it as like, I'm finna get my shit popping here, I'm finna get my music popping here. And I did that, you know what I'm saying?
How long would you say it took for you to really get it popping? Because you got to think back then, I want to say it was really just like MySpace was like the only type of social media, you know what I'm saying? So how long, once you got to PV, did it really take for you to create a buzz out there?
So I got to PV 05 summer, or was it 06? Yeah, I grabbed 05, and then that's something that, so 05, I remember I came in with like a mixtape and, you know, I was pushing it and everything out there. I would say before Christmas break of that first semester, like I was already kind of getting, people was buying my mixtapes already just on campus. That's where it started. But when we came back that next semester, that's when I linked with Merk, DJ Merk, my DJ, you know what I'm saying? I started building my team. I had my PrimeTimeClick. I remember that. Built all that in that semester and like dropped another mixtape and it went crazy. And so it was really all within that first freshman year when I would say where, okay, people know this dude named Dorrough, D-Dorrough, that's what they called me then, that rap.
Gotcha.
You feel me? Now, sophomore year is when it really got popping. You know, coming in sophomore year, you know, PV got these areas called the phases. You got phase 1 and 2, phase 3, and then you got the UC where the freshmen, you know what I'm saying? And I had got it popping in the UC my freshman year, but after that, going to sophomore year, just came in and just dropping mixtape. That's when we started making singles, you know what I'm saying? I had the PrimeTimeClick popping. We started doing we did a record called Do the Muscle. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It got popping down there, you know what I'm saying? And then we brought it back to Dallas and K104. K104 used to do like this hometown showdown thing where you compete with songs and you know, if you win 5 days, you get into rotation type thing. We won that, you know what I'm saying? And like, it was a combination of a lot of stuff that I was doing at that time. MySpace, you know, I was really MySpace. I had became one of the top artists on MySpace and period. You had Soulja Boy, somebody else, and then me. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause that's when I had Walk That Walk in Holly Berry. So you know, all that was just all happening at PV. We did the Holly Berry. Shout out to Superstar because he from Killeen. You know, he had it going out there in Killeen, came to PV, threw me on it. We blew it up at PV, blew up in Houston and Dallas. It took off. While Walk That Walk was like still slowly building, and then Walk That Walk just hit like it blew up on MySpace and PV at the same time, and then it came to Dallas and Houston, and that was the foundation. So I kind of foundated off mixtapes first though, mixtapes. Then I started doing the singles, and then I started doing the shows and putting it all together. So I was really I was a ground worker. Like I did it from the ground up, like just going from city to city, school to school, door to door. It was that type of grind. You feel me? And that built up over time. So in retrospect, I guess you can say that was a long time and a short time. It was just I was doing so much in a short time.
Yeah.
But I probably was doing like 4 to 5 years work in a year.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's all I did. Like, I wasn't even thinking about class. I was hitting class, so I was doing it. But my mindset, I already knew what I was at PV for. I majored in business marketing, but I already knew I was there to rap. You feel me? And
you remember your first paid show?
My first paid show was it was actually UNT Dallas. So my first paid show was Walk That Walk started taking off. And I remember Merk called me and he was like, DJ Merk was like, hey, you got your first paid show, you know what I'm saying? UNT want to pay you, I think $500 this and this song for a show. So I went to UNT. I'm like, damn, it's crazy. So we get there, we do the show, rock the show. Cause Walk That Walk was building at this time. It wasn't at its peak, but it was. They knew. So I did the show, and then I remember, Merk went down. We got the check, but Merk took the bread and bought a camera, and it was he bought a camera with the bread, but he was doing it for my investment. Like, but I remember I was kind of hot. I'm like, this is my first show. I'm finna take this. I'm finna go buy some shoes and everything. When you coming up like that, just getting paid from a show was different from if you got it somewhere else. Because it's like. You putting it in the music, and you ain't never, when you start doing music or anything like that, you doing it off the love of it, you know what I'm saying? You see the goal. Of course, you eventually plan to make money off of it, but when you first get paid from it, now I was getting paid from mixtape, so I was getting used to getting bread like that, but for a show, that was my first paid show. I was, you know what I'm saying? It motivated me a certain type of way.
So you ain't see none of that money though.
Nah, but what we did with that camera, we really took off after we got that camera because, we started making content and this is before, so you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is way before social media. So we had to figure out different ways to get our content out, which was Facebook, but it was also in other different little ways. We was making little DVDs.
Gotcha.
So once we started doing that, it started making the brand pick up even more. Then in them shows, you go from 500 to 1,500 to 25 to 3 to 5, and they just start going up. So, but it all start from that. That first show was always that motivation, like, okay, I can do this for real and sustain a living. And also, when people pay you, that means they really enjoying your craft. Like you really doing something when somebody really to pay you. So my first show was my biggest motivation to keep going.
Nah, that's real. Yeah. So you made up a great point. So as an artist, man, like, when do you know it's time to go up on prices and all that? Yeah,
it's because you the demand, you just get crazy demand, but it's also smart. Like it's two ways you can look at it, because and we had to sit back and learn that like you can always go crazy on your prices, but if you focus on your product, like for me, I knew when I put a mixtape together, like I had that crack. You feel me? Like so, the more I get that out to people, the more I'm gonna win. The better your product is, the more you want to figure out whatever you got to do to get that out to people.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people product don't really be that, but they got everything else. So you know what I'm saying? They might move different, but my music was like addictive. So it was like, okay, if I take the amount of shows and keep my price here, I can do a whole bunch of shows, spread my music and sell a lot of mixtapes, win off that. And by the time I stop, the way it circulate crazy, then that create a crazy demand. Gotcha. Then you kind of go up from there, but it's really off demand. You just know, you feel it. You go from people, you getting booked once or twice a weekend to everybody trying to book and you trying to figure out dates to I can't even. Yeah, once you start getting you start knowing you can come up on your price. But
it's time to go up.
It's really just when you really take that mindset, you ready to turn up like that.
Yeah.
It's a choice at the end of the day.
That's what's up. So early on, what made you want to do a click and instead of just kind of focusing on yourself? Like, what was the reason behind creating PrimeTimeClick?
So PrimeTimeClick was I was a solo artist. But it was always, I being from Texas, I was always influenced by like the Swisher House movements, DSR movements.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what I liked about those, even UGK, but that's, I would say more so the Switch House and DSR movement influenced me more to do the PrimeTime Click. Because what I liked about what they had was they was all individual artists.
Right.
And then, you know, when you got a lot of individual artists that's strong individually and then they connect as a group and they come with that chemistry, that's how you have a Swisher House. That's how you have, you know, what DSR did. You know, that format, you know what I'm saying, is what inspired me to do it. But also I had just like a lot of homies that rap. So PrimeTime Click was just my homies that rap. And we was, you know, everybody rapped. And I was, man, at PV, everybody would want to get me on features. We'll do these songs and stuff. And I started rapping with a group of people more than others. So we just, I was just like, I gotta form a group. I was just, you know, I came with PrimeTime Click, put it together. And it was one of the best things because, you know, now we got different, and everybody was good at different things. We had producers, we had DJs, some, you know, we had niggas that rap. We had, you know, so we was kind of like taking over the whole little region collectively, you know. So that's just how I looked at it at that time.
Man, and the things with groups and growing as an artist anyways, though, is it gets to a point to where, you know, you getting paid for a show and you bring people on, but then it becomes more of an expense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what was that moment for you when you realized, man, like, you know, as much as, you know, I rock with the homies, I can't afford to take everybody with me all the time, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was a minute before we even got to any point like that, because if it all, like, I was good at scouting, like, when I was putting it together.
Right.
Like, everybody did something different. So, for instance, my homie, DA, rest in peace, DA, you know what I'm saying? He was one of the first people in PrimeTime Click, but he rapped, but he was also engineer, and he was, you know what I'm saying, he was cold with the Pro Tools, so I had somebody to record me,
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying, and as we both did it ourselves, then, you know, we had people like TJ we brought in. TJ, he used to paint, he still paint, he got his Just Paint right now. Today, his paint brand steady growing, but he started that at PV, and like, you know, coming up, that cut the cost for clothes. I just used to go buy tall tees at the time and t-shirts. My homie TJ paint the shirts. Now I got to fit, you know, any colors, this and that. So we was making it all work. Matter of fact, he painted the shirts that's in the like ice cream paint job here. That shirt I got on, like all of them, you know, he painted that, and those type of things. You know, everybody was good at something that really kind of cut the price. Cash, you know what I'm saying, was MCing. Cash and Merc was DJing and MCing all the events. So that's I go to the shows, we perform. Everybody did something. It wasn't one of those groups where, you know, it started off and I had to pull a lot of weight. Everybody was doing something that was benefiting you know what I'm saying, and we worked it like that for a minute. But as time go on, you know, a lot of stuff happened. You know, you longevity is a game itself, you know what I'm saying? And how long you can hold on to doing something a certain way, that's a testament to who you are, you feel me? But over time, it just got to the point where, you know, as it get for real, it becomes more about the music. And the art, you know, and that. And when it came, say it was only a few of us that was really about that, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, the people who those are still rocking with me today, you know, but it all panned out the way it was supposed to.
No, that's real, man. And you know, not many artists who get to receive moments like you had, man. And I always like, when I'm talking to artists, I always like to talk about that moment to where they notice life is changing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that was for you? Was it a call? Was it a show? Was it, you know what I'm saying, a check? Like, when you was like, man, this is for real. My life's about to change.
Yeah. So at PV, I think it was like 06, 07, like, when I was at PV and I got to walking around campus and I started signing autographs and taking pictures like that as being a student, that's when I knew it was changing, because that was at the same time I was getting paid shows. So it was all happening at one time. I started getting paid shows to, like, okay, you walking around the campus, people bring me the mixtapes, I'm signing them, you know what I'm saying? It was just a lot of stuff. So this is even before the money. This was before the check, before the deal and everything. Like, I just knew it was coming, because it was like, that was a big thing, because I knew that even in high school in that first year of PV, it wasn't even like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I had a buzz, but people weren't paying me for shows.
Yeah.
People weren't, you know what I'm saying, doing, buying CDs, coming, paying more if I signed it. So it was just out of little stuff like that, and me starting to see the music everywhere, hearing it everywhere. It was just all happening at one time, and that's when I was like, okay. But every time that happened, it was never like, oh, I made it. It was like, that's time to go to the next step.
Right.
All right, now it's time for me to turn up. Let me go hard on these songs. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me figure out what I need next. So
Yeah.
I kind of always did it like that.
And then Ice Cream Paint Job took that to.
Yeah, so Ice Cream Paint Job was later. So PV, so I went to PV from 05. I was supposed to graduate in 09, but I did my deal in 08, like the end of 08,
right?
going to 09, yeah, 09. Yeah, early 09 is when I did it. So I was still at PV when I did the deal. But Walk That Walk, you know, by the time 2008 in Holly Berry and Walk That Walk it hit, like I was touring the whole, not just Texas, but the whole South. By this time I was doing Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Oklahoma, this whole little region.
Right.
Like 6-7 days a week. Like it was crazy then. So, and this was all before Ice Cream Paint Job. So then when Ice Cream Paint Job, yeah, I did it at PV while I was at PV, but I did it back during summer break. I did it at Mel the Max spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you poured that out here.
Yeah, out here. And then when I put that on MySpace, it just, that took off straight from MySpace. But it was because of everything else. See, I tell people all the time, like, everything is layered on top of everything.
Right.
Like my buzz was so crazy by the time I dropped Ice Cream Paint Job internally, as far as just in the region, Texas, and my own little. It was so crazy that when that came out and it hit MySpace, and you know what I'm saying, it went like it all connected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, other than people from Dallas like yourself, when I go do interviews other places, they think it all started at Ice Cream Paint Job.
Right.
Like I tell people all the time, if you know how you watch a Netflix show or something, or a Hulu show, and it's a series, and each series, a whole season will be Ice Cream Paint Job, with Ice Cream Paint Job being the last episode of that season.
Yeah.
Everything gonna be the build up to that. You know what I'm saying? So
that makes sense.
It would be like, or actually, Ice Cream Paint Job would be the second season. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And then the whole first season will be everything that led up to that. So it's like, y'all will understand it because you come from Texas, so you know about that. When I go elsewhere, they started Ice Cream Paint Job, but it's like, then when they really be wanting to understand how that happened, I gotta tell them like
the backstory,
because it was really off the buzz of everything that I had. Because when Ice Cream Paint Job came out, it just took off.
Yeah.
Like it went fast. Like it just
crazy.
spread it like a wildfire quick. So it wasn't like the grind that I had to put in all the other records. But it was off the back of that. You know what I'm saying? So without all that buzz, that don't happen. So yeah, I tell people all the time, man, it's a story to the story.
Man, and I want you to talk your shit for a moment too, because you know there's a lot of Dallas artists around. You know what I'm saying? The Boogie Movement, that time, that was making a lot of noise, but it was like, man, you surpassed all that shit. You really took that shit to a national level. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, of course, the music was good. You had the persona, you had the swag, you put the hustle in, bro. But it was like you also had the components of the team to help make that work. What else would you say you would credit that success to, like, to getting outside just the region? Because I feel like a lot of times we feel like we as Dallas, you know, talent gets stuck within a region, but you took it national, bro. You made it to BT stages. You made it everywhere. So what would you credit that to? Like, what was?
Well, I would have to credit a lot of that. So when Ice Cream Paint Job happened, it blew up in Cali from MySpace. So the story of that is a DJ that I was connected with through MySpace named A-Man. He was a radio DJ in Cali, but before Ice Cream Paint Job, he would come to my MySpace page all the time, and whatever, you know, you could put 3, 4, 5 songs on your MySpace. I would always put my top songs, like, but I would update them like monthly. You know what I'm saying? When I was dropping mixtapes, and he would always come get them songs, and he'll put them on his mixtapes or he'll play them. And he would always come and get a record. And I remember he was trying to get Walk That Walk. He really loved that record, but he couldn't really get it to pop in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was on a different tempo. You know, he had some traction, but he couldn't really get it to pop. And then when I put that on MySpace, he immediately, I remember he DM'd me, hit me in the message. He was like, hey, what's this? This on some like Bay Area type whoop-de-whoop. Like, I'm for this original? He just asked me all these questions, and I was like, yeah. And then he just took it, started playing it on the radio, playing on the clubs. Probably within a week from that message from he got it, he literally had hit me a week later and say, bro, you got the hottest record in Cali right now. Well, in the Bay Area right now. And 1 week, because he said from the very first time he played it, it's just like the phone lines blew up, like everybody was asking. And in 2 days, the traction was so crazy that they started putting in a rotation before I even had any type of situation. And but what that did was that put me on the whole West Coast. People even thought I was from out there.
So you was out there a lot.
Yeah. So like, by this time I had never even been out there. Even when he started playing it, I had never been to Cali. But so I had that whole little South region on lock. Yeah. So when that happened, and then I started getting that Cali, when that connected, that's what made me a national thing, because in Cali I had this big record that wasn't even in the South yet. Texas and everybody wasn't even on it. I had this huge record, but nobody knew nothing about me other than that record.
Gotcha.
And then, but when they started doing their research, it went deep. You get what I'm saying? And it just, when it all connect, I tell people all the time, when you creating a buzz, it's like fires, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got a fire here, fire there, fire there. When it all connect and make it, you know what I'm saying, this big thing, that's when it all hit. And that's what the national thing happened. And that was all before the label. That's why it was so big. So then I did the deal.
Gotcha.
You know, I did the deal off that buzz. And that's when the BET stuff, it was easy for the label to work me at that point, because they had never had an artist that came in with their own buzz at that time that. You know what I'm saying? So
who I was approaching you at that time?
Man, first people tried to sign me, Jay Priest Jr., he came down to PV one time, or was it Jazz? It was one of them. But Rapper, like, they threw the deal out first. Young Jock threw the deal out second. That's when he had the little swag, because he had signed Stanky Leg. GS Boys, he threw the deal out first. He didn't do that. Then it started coming to the labels, like the Universals, Atlantic. Every label came, but no label offered me the album deals that E1 offered me, aka Koch. They was Koch, now they E1.
Gotcha.
Koch Records.
So they were
all the other major labels. They was taking because you had Lil Will had already came out, My Dougie. You had what else came after Lil Will? You had a few records that came before my records that was just the singles dancing. So all the labels was adjusted to doing that type of deal.
Okay, so they're doing single deals, I'm guessing?
Basically single deals, you know what I'm saying? They wasn't doing no album deals. Now, Koch was the only one that did their research and really found out what I was. Like this was a mixtape rapper first. Because if you're a mixtape rapper and you start making singles, you're an album artist. I mean, you can make, once they realize that, they the ones that came with we want to do album deals with you. Like, we want to do something way bigger. Okay. And then that's why I took that deal. That's why we did it like that.
Nah, that definitely makes sense, bro. Because you got to think, man, sometimes it gives you more opportunity to put out other stuff and to, really see the world. So you do the deal. What would you say for other artists, probably even in this time? Because, I mean, I feel like this time it's still kind of went back to more singles. People are doing singles. Would you say so?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It definitely start. Everything always go full circle. It reverted to now. It's really about the single again. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's almost like the same type of game, and that's how the females winning right now. The females actually, from a collective standpoint, they're making the bigger quote unquote bops or hits or singles more so than, you know what I'm saying, everybody else right now. But they're winning off that. That's like that record that Yo Gotti just signed. What's the name?
FNL.
Yeah. Them type records right there. That's like what it was like then in 08, 09, 2010, 2000, coming with them type records, you know what I'm saying? But the females are doing that now more so, you feel me? But yeah, it's that type of game for sure. But it all goes full circle.
Real quick, and then we get off of MySpace, man. Remember MySpace back then, they had like the top 8 and shit like that. You had to do that shit today, who be in the top 8?
Man, that'll be, so you had to be creative back then who you put in your top 8. You know what I'm saying? Like,
real creative, man.
Yeah, I had caught some issues back then doing that. But now, it was, in my top 8, I can't even tell you who'll be in my top 8 right now. But you just reminded me of something, man. I got a shout out to, at that time, his name was Cutter C.
Okay.
Cause the seed was in Dallas. He had the Act the Ass record. He had a record that was going. But he gave me a niche on MySpace that really made me propel over everybody else because I had my music set, but it was the marketing. So he was the one that came up with that. I don't know if you remember on MySpace, on People Top 8s, you had the regular profile, but then you will see some with a long strip.
Yeah.
He came up with that concept. He did it with his page, but then he did it for me. Because when I used to see, because it make you, when you would go on MySpace page, you had to see that on anybody page. If you was in their top 8, you gonna see who got this long ass picture.
Right.
He just figured out a little niche. So he had did that for me, and he knew how to animate it.
Okay.
And like that shit just took like my page to a whole nother level because I had the records already.
Yeah.
But I remember that the top 8 because everybody used to be like, "How you do your top 8 like that?" I'd be like, "Shit, I got a plug." You know what I'm saying? He was my plug that did it. But nah, you just reminded me about that. Like it was just all that little shit. But we was having fun then too. That's another thing. Like when you doing it and having fun, it's just a whole different thing.
Nah, fast, man. So we gonna speed up, bro. Like a lot of things. We talked a little bit offline before we got on. We talked about like doing deals and longevity, bro.
Yeah.
And you know, for us, like we talked about, man, I'm taking a different route. Like I stick on positivity, bro. So I'm able to do, great deals with brands, and it just kind of enhances what I'm doing, right? Those cosigns matter.
Yeah.
So like, man, with you, it's crazy. I want to say, man, it's been a couple years. Like you've had this opportunity with the Cowboys for like what, 5 years now, maybe 5 or 6.
We did the deal in 2016, the official deal. I've been working with them since 2013.
Okay.
But we did the official deal in 2016. So yeah, this will be year number 6. Yeah.
Man, how'd that even come about? Because especially coming from the city, bro, like the Cowboy, everybody love the Cowboys. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's undeniable, bro. So like to be an artist making, you know what I'm saying, having a partnership with them, that's next level, bro. So like how'd that even come about? And you know what I'm saying, what was your mind to even like want to go that route?
Man, it was just back in 2013, I had it was a couple things. So it was fans inside the Cowboys organization that would always like hit me up on social media at this time or just whenever they would see me and be like, "Hey, you need to make a Cowboys anthem." Because at this time, and even to this day mainly, but they was only rocking with like country music, just stuff like that. And when they started getting the younger people that was working inside the organization, they wanted to rap, but they wanted some Dallas stuff. So they would come to me and start planting the seed ideas in my head. But at that time, I was so heavy into everything I was doing. I remember I was in LA. I was just doing a whole lot that I really didn't know how to take that approach because it had never been done. And then I was just thinking like what I'm gonna make for the Cowboys. But I eventually ran into my homie Ben who went to Lancaster and PV with me. Back in the day at PV, he linked me with Mr. Rogers, and then one day he had hit me and he was just like, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You need to do this for the Cowboys." And he actually was in the organization, and I knew him. So I was just like, man, let me take it serious. And then I actually did the song. I just created a song. It's Our Time. It was the first song we did, and they loved it. You know what I'm saying? We shot a video at the game. We did a lot with it, man, with the whole organization. And the record had moved so good that year that's what created the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And from there, the next year, it was just about that. Like, you should make an anthem every year, or make something for us every year. We'll put it out. We'll help do this. It started like that. Now, after about two years of that, doing that, I came to the conclusion, like, nah, we need to do something bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's when I started thinking, like, okay, maybe I can turn this into something. You feel me? Sure. Wasn't no blueprint because nobody, even to this day, has did a hip-hop rap deal with an NFL team. You know what I'm saying? And it really wasn't no blueprint, so I had to kind of figure it out. But then, I started thinking about the merch. At that time, I was doing the merch stuff heavy, and I was just like, man, I want to do something with, I want to design a jacket or something like that with the Cowboys. We started in that route. We did shirts. And it just started, then we ended up doing a merch deal first. You know what I'm saying? What we did was we just did a particular shirt that they made, and they just had like my credentials on them, my picture. And then we did a hat, and then it sold, and it went real well. And then from there, that's when we came back and was like, okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna actually do a partnership. And that's the brand ambassador, performances, merch, music, just all in one collective. And every year we just expound on that. So that's really what it was. It really just kind of came like moving around a lot, doing something, seeing how that go, getting inspired to do something bigger, and just keeping the relationship going.
Gotcha.
Being a natural Dallas Cowboy fan, you know what I'm saying? Like being who I am to the city, you know what I'm talking about? Being, it's just a combination of everything. Once again, it was that. But when I first did that song for him in 2013, I thought that was gonna be it.
Right.
But you know, it ended up just to this day, like it just keep growing, you know.
Gotcha.
And,
So how often, I guess, is it something y'all renew the terms every year, or it's a multi-year?
So we started off the multi-year, then we renew every year because now we like adding details to it. 'Cause
Gotcha.
see, every year, even this year, like some of the stuff that we finna do, I didn't even think about last year. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those situations where we created it to where I can keep on adding on to it, and they can too.
Gotcha.
See how far we can take it.
Gotcha.
But I mean, I'm pretty sure, man, this gonna be a for life type situation because I've been a Cowboy fan for life.
Facts.
I always gonna be a Cowboy fan. I always gonna be from Dallas. I always gonna make some music.
Yeah.
It's like a why not type situation. So shout out to the Cowboys, man. You know.
Nah, facts, man. With everything you've done, man, do you honestly feel you get like the flowers and the just you deserve?
Yeah and no. If I'm being honest, see, I'm not a person that's big on getting my flowers right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I already know what it is. Like I tell people, I don't tell people this all the time. I only had this conversation a couple times with people personally. Like think about if whomever just you are or whomever somebody that accomplished a lot is. Right. Think about if you get your flowers every day. Just say you walking down the street. I mean, you just get your flowers all the time.
Right.
For one, you may not appreciate the flowers as much, or for two, it'll make you less hungry. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't think it's meant for people to get their flowers. Gotcha. All the time. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe in giving people their flowers. Right, don't get me wrong. And I appreciate when I get my flowers every now and then. But I'm not a person that wake up and be like, man, you know, you ain't never heard me ever in no time in my life or career be one that's mad about people not giving them flowers, saying this. Now, these people say this stuff a lot. Right. But honestly, bro, like where I'm at and where I've always been, it always been. It's me moving around, going to this. So I'm always doing so much shit and so busy that I'm not even thinking about the flowers. It's like I don't even have these conversations until we come talk about like the stuff. And now I'm reminiscing, like, you know, we talking about the MySpace days and Ice PV. Yeah. You know, and to me, that's like getting my flowers. Because when I think about it back then, I was just grinding. I wasn't thinking about none of that. I wasn't thinking about it, nothing. So now when we talking about it, it's like, now I look at it like, damn, that we was really making history. Like I was really doing some stuff at that time. Thanks. So that's my flowers itself, just it happening. Just it, you know, when every time somebody play my song, whether it's a new one or old one or whatever, that's flowers. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. You supporting this flowers. Even when people talking, when it's the hate, that's still flowers because that's what I'm gonna turn it to. You get what I'm saying? So, but as far as just the whole, like, I want my flowers, man, that'll happen when it's supposed to happen. Yeah. And honestly, you know, even if it's a day where I'm not here to get the flowers, long as that's out there, I'm receiving my flowers, bro. Like I ain't a person that's real big on like, hey, y'all gotta come praise me right now, give me flowers, tell me this, and that, and nah, bro, I ain't never been big on that. So to answer your question, I don't never really pay attention to it.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't never really think about it that way.
So do you even like try to stay away from like those conversations of, you know, top Dallas artists and all that?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that type stuff, like I have my top artists, Dallas, Texas, of all time, everywhere. But when it comes to just like the city, when they get into those conversations, like the best thing I can say is people got to understand that my favorite thing about Nipsey was when he came up with the marathon, because that's literally what everything is. Yeah. So I done seen talks where people say top Dallas, top this, and that, as if the game still ain't going on. See, people forget, like, it's like playing in a basketball game, and then in the third quarter, it's in the middle of the third quarter or the second quarter, people come and they start, dab like the game over. It's like, nah, the game's still going.
Right.
So when it comes to top Dallas rap and all that, and people ask no questions and this, that, and that, it's like we don't even know who that's gonna be at. This game's still going on. But as far as what I do and what I did, I know what I do is not even just top Dallas. I think from a worldwide prospect. I got my own style, my own brand, my own sound, and I'm happen to be from Dallas.
Yeah.
That was my goal, and expound on that. Now I'm talking, when we talk about top 10, I'm talking about going top 10 to the world.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? That's my goal. Is you're gonna be saying top 10 rappers of all time, and not when I say rapper, I mean from an overall standpoint. Like life is about the overall game. You know what I'm saying? And that's the game you playing till the end. Yeah. So that's how you see people right now popping up as who they are. You know what I'm saying? I don't care, and it ain't even just rappers. It's all type of people. Even at the Dallas-Fort Worth community. Charleston White, he coming out to Dallas-Fort Worth. Yeah. He been doing that. He coming into his own right now. Yeah. It's a long game. Now, when it come to rappers, like I rap. I do this shit to the highest level. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard for me to engage in those conversations because it's like, I respect the legends. People need to talk about the legends more.
Gotcha.
People need to talk about the DOCs and the Tom Toms and the DSRs when we're talking about Dallas.
Gotcha.
And everybody that's playing the game need to aspire to become that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And create their own lane, this and that. Until then, Dallas is gonna be a city that once we do that, that's when we can compete with the world. We need to come together like that first.
Gotcha.
And then we can start doing the top 10 Dallas. But, as far as just raps, I think Texas as a whole need to come together and put together a whole. I'm thinking about versus type thing. When you see the verses, I think about stuff like that, like Texas coming together doing songs. I got the records with like the Sauce Walkers. Yeah. Me and Eric are probably working on something. I'm waiting on you know what I'm saying? I'm doing something with everybody. So
that's real.
Yeah, I'm just working.
That's what's up, man. And when you touch on there, bro, I kind of think of. So like you've done records with a lot of people, right? And you talking about top Dallas artists, etc. But you're going for the world. You brought up Nip, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a legend. You know what I'm saying? You got to experience him as well, before his passing, RP Nip. Kind of tell us what that experience is like, man, because Nip was ahead of his time. You know what I'm saying? Right. He was a different individual. Like the concept, you talk about the marathon, the concepts he had, the proud to pay concept, the way, people showed him love, the way he showed love. What was it like kind of, having a relationship with him? Because, I could tell from the post that, it was bigger than music.
Yeah. Nip, I brought him up because, like the marathon concept is a concept that I always use without calling it the marathon. Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can call it the long game, the whatever. But so when Nip would talk about these things, I resonated with it from afar before we even started having interactions about that, conversations. But even before we started having conversations about that, we was already tied in. Right. See, me and Nipsey go back even before, the world saw us. Obviously, the first time we ever did something, which was on the BT 2009 award show, you know what I'm saying? But before that, it's certain artists that when they came out, I connected to them before we even knew each other because they was in the same similar scenario as me, the way I seen it. When I saw Nipsey, the first time I ever saw him, he had came out with that record, the Crisscross record. Okay. He was rapping on a Crisscross beat, and that's when his first video came out to the world, but this is way before the world knew Nipsey. But what I saw was, okay, this a dude from his city. He like the first coming out, you know what I'm saying? And he kind of speaking for his city in a way that I'm doing in Dallas. Yeah. So it already stood out. So when it came to me, I got the phone call that, hey, do you know who Nipsey Hussle is? You know what I'm saying? We want to put him on the record. What you think? I was like, yeah, I rock with Nipsey. Yeah. Man, the day we met, like we locked in, you know what I'm saying? And we just, I remember we did the ice cream paint job rehearsal in Atlanta. And, he was kind of like, not so sure. He was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, he was for to hit the big stage, you know what I'm saying? But But the next day we did the show, he came out and iced it, and he showed me that, like, okay, you like me, like, we gonna be ready for the big stage regardless, you know what I'm saying? So we locked in on that moment, and then from that moment on, we saw each other so many different times, and every time we linked up, we had like a conversation. Yeah. But it was nothing ever about rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't think of one rap conversation we had. Even we did features. Like, we done songs. He done, came to my birthday parties and, flew him in a dive. We done had these in a race, but we never talked about rap. And that's the difference between me and Nipsey and any other rapper I ever dealt with. Like, we never talked, so it was all life stuff. It was all that, or it was always him bringing some type of big moment to the conversation that made me think, you know what I'm saying, and vice versa. So maybe after about 3, 4, 5 years of us knowing each other, I started realizing, like, damn, every time Nip link, it's always something way bigger than that.
Right.
Now, the last time I saw Nip was a month before, the situation happened. And that might have been the first time we ever talked about music. Now, we talk about other stuff too. He came to Dallas to do it was a business situation. Shout out to my homie Vinny.
That panel.
The panel,
I was there. I was there.
Okay, So we came. So we was in the backstage of that when me and him was having a conversation, and we was talking about just different stuff, some life stuff. But then we started talking about music because he was so proud that he had got his studio built for the first time out there. Because they bought up, Nips built a whole lot.
Yeah, facts.
And like, he had got to the point where he built his studio up, and the first thing he wanted to do was let me know, like, hey, when you come to LA, this is where you're gonna be recording at. So basically just giving me a spot to record. You ain't gotta pay for nothing. This your spot to record it. I built this for this reason, basically building it for him, his team, anybody he messed with to come. You know what I'm saying? And I could tell by the way he was saying it, like, he was proud of that moment. So that said a lot. It was like, his whole thing was to really build and really give back. So we started talking about music. That was the first conversation we had where, like, hey, I was working on a Texafornia record at the time, and I was already been putting together this Texafornia album. So we were talking about that. I was like, this perfect, because I'm working on this Texafornia record. I want you on it. It makes sense. You from Cali, I'm from Texas. Yeah. We were just talking about a whole lot of stuff that was music related at that time. Yeah. And but I was glad we had that conversation, because I'm glad that we talked about so much other stuff that I was glad we got to have a music conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, man, it's just, I can go so many different routes with it, from the shows we did to just some of the stuff we talked about. But I'm gonna say that for another time. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? No, that's real, man. And it's crazy that you got to that experience, bro. Like, a lot of people that looked up to him that probably in the future had plans of going deeper, but that time was taken from him too early. Yeah. Well, one thing back to Dallas real quick is, one thing we say is, and it might be wrong, but I just want your opinion because you've done it at the highest level, is that the maybe a problem that we have within the city is, I would say, lack of structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it goes to conducting business in the city, it's been kind of difficult, for artists. Because when you look at, major markets, even like in Houston, you do have like your, Jay Prince, Junior Jazz, all that. So you've seen some success with the labels, right? A lot of times we leave, get signed, and come back. So there hasn't been like anything within the city. Do you feel like the lack of structure, lack of somebody here who could help people get to the next level with that cosign of, like, this is a guy, let's bring him up? Do you feel like that's a problem here, or what do you feel like the city's in good hands? It's just, we just got to keep working?
The city in good hands, and it always been like a lack of structure, but before there's structure, it's always a lack of structure. And it's like you go through the processes that our city fortunately have already went through now to build real structure. During the Dallas Boogie Movement, which is probably the biggest and most prominent movement that Dallas have ever had, that we can claim as our own, that contributed to the music industry and influenced different sounds and other, stuff that we can really claim. It was built up and tore down by us, but at the same time, it was a staple that we can, and a foundation that the city is still building off of and learning from, and that's coming full circle as well. So the structure has to be built like that. The structure. It's different ways you can look at structure, because some cities don't even have the structure that we have when it comes to certain things. Now, have we ever had that major system, label, this and that. Nah, but then we do have places like that's coming like that, like the music accesses and just different things. So it'd be hard for me to speak on it because as we speaking right now, the city is expanding and becoming what it's gonna become. And it's because of everything else that happened, you know? So I talk about the Dallas Boogie Movement because that movement and everything that happened after that, then you had, you know, you got the Mo3 Trap, Yellow, you got all these different things that all comes together in the city that makes it the city. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's where the structure actually come from. Because you got something, you got a reference. You know what I'm saying? It's like doing anything with no blueprint, you creating a blueprint right then when you start doing it. So I don't really like speaking from the sense of saying Dallas don't have structure because it do have structure in different ways. Gotcha. And the structure that everybody else speaking on that we don't have is actually building on right now. As we speak. You know what I'm saying? Even with platforms like what you build. You know what I'm saying? It's all, when you go to other cities, it's the combination that makes it a structure. They have these media outlets like what you've been building and what you building, and they have these studios and they have these, you know, it's everything collectively together. So I just like to say, you know, it's like a stay tuned type thing. Like Dallas, because of what Dallas been through, is bound to be the top city when it comes to what it is. So that's how I look at it.
Even with the stay tuned, bro, I've been, you know, seeing the stories, bro, that, you know, your numbers going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Spotify, all that. Man, what are you working on right now that you really want to push? Because, bro, you know, it's crazy to see that, you know, it's like you've been on like a constant grind, you know what I'm saying? You don't push too much out, people just drive to the music, you know what I'm saying? What is it working on right now that you want to push or that, you know, you want people to listen to, stay tuned to, working on? And talk to us too about the, you know, the 6'3" thing, 'cause I know before our conversation, we told you want to release music under that, so kind of like fill us in on that as well.
So basically, with me first, it's going to always be the music first. Okay. Like, I build on top of that first.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, even when you speak of stuff like the Spotify, like, shout out to all my real fans and supporters, because that's what it's about. Like, I want my real music numbers to be going up all the time first, and then everything else is secondary to that. Social media, all that, and all of it works collectively. So, you know, when it comes to the stuff that's happening on Spotify, it's just showing me that my fan base around the world is tapped in. That means they're actually listening to the music. They're actually streaming the music. And so now I'm getting ready to drop more music. I'm actually getting ready to drop a couple projects. You know, some of them on singles. Some of them I'm putting music that wasn't released, and you know, before streaming platforms, you just had live mixtapes at Piff. You know, I used to go crazy in that area, you know, doing gangster grills and stuff like that. But a lot of that music never even hit the streaming platforms. So when I started seeing people like, you know, Wiz dropped a mixtape that he put out like in 2012. He just dropped it. And then during the pandemic, I remember Lil Wayne put out No Ceilings. You know what I'm saying? He had dropped that like in 2009, 2010, but he officially put it out. You know what I'm saying? You know, it reminded me that I had so much music that I never put out officially. And the fans, I have always wanted those. Like from social media to, I can open up my YouTube and people like, why this song ain't on? I can't stream it. You know, people, you know, because I'm the same way. I like songs. It's songs that, it's little flip songs that I can't find. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, damn, if I can go to Spotify right now, just play it while I'm recording. You know what I'm saying? So that started making me think, like, I need to start thinking like the listener. When I started thinking like the listener, it made me realize that I need to start putting some of that stuff out too. You know what I'm saying? So right now I'm in a combination of getting ready to release a whole lot of new music, putting out music that my supporters been wanting and needing. And then with the 6'3" brand, that's a whole nother wave. That's just, you know, I got a lot of music, fam. And honestly, when I first dropped my first album, I had a split fan base. I always had a split fan base up until this day, to where like
split between who would you say?
My split fan base was between like the people that, hey, you need to make this type of music. I love this when you did this on the album, and then you got the people that just keep making these bangers, keep this and that. I like doing both as an artist. You know what I'm saying? And the you know, to express that, I done came to the conclusion that, you know, I'm putting it out through 2 different brands.
Gotcha.
So it's like the fans that love me for this gonna get this, and the fans that love me for that gonna get that. You get what I'm saying? And I figured out a niche way to do it.
Okay.
So, you know, long story short, that's the 6'3" brand is gonna be that. The 6'3" brand is gonna be what, you know, a certain set of my fans want on the music side of it. You know, and 6'3" I always been an AKA, so it was only right for me to do it this way. And I'm the first person that's doing it, so it's hard to speak on it.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be one of those things where the music gonna tell the story.
Gotcha.
So it's just like, look out for the music, look out for the music.
Yeah.
But you know, when it hit, it's gonna hit.
So as an artist, bro, like you just said, you know, it's gonna tell a story through the music. Like, who do you listen to get stories from? You know what I'm saying?
Who I listen to?
Yeah, like just to consume. Like,
If I'm being honest, bro, like if I'm being 100% honest, I guess in my own world, when I'm working on music so much, it's like, if somebody drop an album today, I'm gonna listen to it. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm gonna listen to it, but for a lot of different reasons. For one, I always look for good music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's just say whomever drop an album and I listen to it, I might like 2 or 3 songs, maybe more, maybe less.
Gotcha.
But them 2, 3 songs I like, I might add them on a playlist that I just for me
Gotcha.
to listen to, because I might want to work out and listen to it.
Right.
So I listen to everybody when it comes to that standpoint. You know, and also, you know, I like knowing what the climate is.
Right,
you feel
for
me?
sure, for sure.
But if it's just anybody that I mean, of course I respect the legends, I respect the greats, I respect the hoes, you know,
Yeah, of course.
the Kanye's. But I just respect good music in general. So even if the new artist that's just come out, that's on the way, if he making good music, I'm gonna listen to it, especially as I come across it. But I'm not a person that I don't just get in and be looking for music like that. You feel me? Because I be in my own world.
Nah, for
so to answer that, I basically listen to everybody and listen to nobody at the same time.
that makes sense,
You know
bro.
what I'm saying?
And I got 2 more questions before you get up out of here, bro. The first one is, man, you know, with this being called cosign, bro, like, you know, we don't say like cosigns in general, not even just us, but like people validate people, but it helps get them to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Like it matters.
Yeah.
So who would you say is like that one early cosign that really was like, man, this shit really helped me, you know what I'm saying, become who I am today? It could be, you know what I'm saying, like a DJ, a feature, a brand, just like, you know, something that was like, man, once this person or conglomerate organization co-signed you, you could tell the difference of, you know what I'm saying, your career.
It's different levels of it. So I would say first, when I was in the PV era, just having the real DJs out there co-signing, like Merck and Mr. Rogers, fucking with me heavy, that gave me a different persona because they wasn't doing that with everybody. Then when the next level of that would be when I would say, you know, when the Halle Berry took off and I met Bebe, and then Bebe started, you know what I'm saying, playing a lot of my music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's different levels. And then from when I actually got in the game, like when even records like Ice Cream Paint Job was taking off, at that time I remember Jermaine Dupri just randomly hopped on. He was the first one to do anything on it and I had never even met him. But what it showed was like, because you know when you in Texas or in a place, even if something is big there, if you don't really move and travel, the average person think that that's just only happening there.
Right.
So when people start seeing people like Jermaine Dupri, and then in 2009, you know, Jermaine Dupri was actually rare. He was hot, you know, on that type tip, just hopping on stuff from, you know, Dorrough, you know, this Dorrough that did Walk That Walk. It started like making people see it different. Like, oh shit, like how did Jermaine Dupri even know about this record? Because they don't know it's out there yet, and I didn't even know. So it's just like, I can just think of so many levels where it was, okay, a cosign. Then from there, I remember doing the Get Big record and putting Diddy on the remix, and Diddy hopping on there.
Yeah, remix was big,
and it just took everything to another level. You know, I mean, all the remixes I did, even the official Ice Cream Paint Job, had everybody Snoop, you had Soulja Boy, you had
Jim Jones on that too, right?
Jim Jones, E4. It was just so many people on that one. Even when Lil Wayne hopped on the beat and did the No Ceilings thing, like just took everything to the next level. So I can just think of a lot of moments where those things are cosigns in their own way.
Right,
There was never nobody that put their arm around me and be like, hey, this, that,
Right.
never that.
Just
But
like the small
when I did when DJ Drama approached me and we started linking and doing gangster grills, I did 3 gangster grills with DJ Drama. That put me in a whole different type of realm. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like all these different things that happen at different moments that the cosign itself, you know what I'm saying, all the way up into the Cowboys. It's always something, but it comes from me just putting in the work, and then I might do a collab with something, and then that's a cosign. You know what I'm talking about? So that's the best way I could put it. It was never really just no one thing that put around. It was just like this. It was just a combination of everything.
Nah, facts.
Yeah.
So, you know, last question, man. What would you say you do to kind of like keep your mental health sane, bro? Because, you know, you're an artist, you know what I'm saying? You're a father, bro, businessman.
Yeah.
So you go through a lot of stuff. Like, you know, music is one of those games where it's like it's an ugly game. So, you know, they love you one day, they hate you the next, or you know what I'm saying? You know how it goes. So dealing with all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you kind of do just to stay sane and keep yourself motivated?
Man, it's just like you named a few things, you know, family, you know what I'm saying? I got little ones.
Yeah.
So just, you know, the more I'm in their lives, the more I found a balance that just put me in a different mindset. You know, I love, see, the stuff that people don't like about the game is what I actually love about it. I love the you know what I'm saying? I love the perseverance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love the, like when I watch stuff, I look at the longevity. So I look at who lasts. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like the people that can take some hits and stay in it and come back and win the game. I like those stories and those type of characters and players first. So I like
stuff.
Exactly. I like the stuff that people don't like, which makes the whole game fun for me. Which, you know, that's the sanity, is when you really loving it, and that's what one thing that keep you sane. You know, I love making music. I love the hustling behind it. But then, you know, then I do other stuff like, you know, I try and work out. You know what I'm saying? I stay like that. You know, I try and eat better. You know what I'm saying? I drink these all the time, these kombuchas and stuff.
Okay.
Like, all of it collectively, you know what I'm saying? I just do a lot of stuff. But I would say the number one thing is that I love the game for everything it is.
Yeah.
More so probably than the next person. To the point where the adversity is those are just minor hurdles. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Gotcha.
most people lose. The adversity is what changed the people or knock them out the game, and that's what affects the mental health and all. That's how you handle adversity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I always been pretty good at that. You know what I'm saying? And I think the main reason why I'm pretty good at it because I anticipated, I expect some of it, but also, you know, I like the adversity part of it as well. So that's my number one way of dealing with the mental health side of it, because it's just really just about how you handling the adversity.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that you know, that's my best way of putting it.
No, that's real. And final last thing, we're doing something with Frost Bank, right? And we talked a lot about mental health and money and relationships with money. I would just want to say, not even just artists, because there's people, you know, young entrepreneurs who coming out here, bro. Like, for somebody who, you know, who may have lived a modest life, and then, you know, they have some success, you know what I'm saying? They get a deal, they start to see a lot of money at one time. Like, what advice would you give to them to, you know, to be able to sustain, you know, with getting that type of money and not blowing it off? Or, you know, how'd you learn how to manage your money?
The best way is 2 ways. Really, it's 3 ways. Trial and error, 1. Learning from what's already out there, meaning what people, you know, stories you done heard, people that done been through it, if you connect with people and actually have those conversations. And then number 3, all else fails, as long as you investing in yourself, your craft, you gonna always win on the back end, no matter what. Like, even, and that's the approach I always took. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So when it always got like, I remember, you know, getting checks and spending like the whole thing on the studio stuff, like getting studio equipment. Right. And then it took me into like, damn, should I have spent that much? But then now in retrospect, it was the best thing I could have done. Right. But even when I was doing it then, I felt like, okay, I don't even know how much I should be spending on this, but I know this is going into music and I'm gonna be doing this shit forever. So there's no way this can be the wrong thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So I always tell people, with that question asked, as long as you know you putting it in an area where you playing in a game you playing forever,
Right.
it's the best thing you can do, no matter what. That's the only way I can think, because I only play the long game. I only get into stuff that I can do or want to do forever. So I only know how to think from that perspective. I don't like, if you putting it in there and you playing that game forever, you gonna win either now or later, or at some point for that. So even if you take an L now, you're gonna take the W later. And if you're willing to do that, you're gonna win. But see, most people not willing to. See, the thing about life and anything, most people don't want to go through that adversity part of anything. So it's just like, and the only way I can tell you to get past that is the only play stuff that you're willing to play the long game in. Right. You know what I'm saying? I can only bet on myself. Right. I bet every dollar on myself. But on the next thing, I might be a little shaky because I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? But you got some people that they got that energy to where they can bet on this, and that, and sometimes they can hit, but most of the time, when they don't, you can't really handle. It's harder to handle adversity with something you ain't attached to.
Right.
So you taking an L and you was playing just to win and quick gamble, and you don't win, that adversity gonna hit you harder. When you take an L in something that you was gonna play for the long game anyway, now it's just a lesson. You just get through it and boom. And that's the way I look at money and finances. So that would be my advice. But number one is go study all the information that's out there. Yeah. People got all type of stories. Learn from that. If you can't learn from that, you're gonna learn from trial and error anyway.
Facts.
And only invest in the long game and the stuff you're willing to play the long game, man.
And overall, they say, man, real hustlers can lose it and get it back.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. 100%. 100%.
I appreciate you taking the time to chop it over with me, man. This has been COSIGN Conversations with Dorrough Music. Make sure y'all tap in, stream the music, watch the videos, and support. You know what I'm saying? We got to support our own and get it going. As always, man, y'all stay blessed and be peace out here. All right.
Hey guys, what's good? Thanks for supporting COSIGN Magazine by watching this video. If you really enjoyed this content, please subscribe, like, comment, and share.